Now, to start, we're going to work on creating space laterally. So if coach is guarding me, it's a myth to think that I always need to go downhill. A lot of times coaches tell us you got to be downhill, 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 but I got to be able to work vertically as well as laterally to create space and to create opportunities, not just for myself, but for my teammate. Does that make sense? So we're going to start, ball's going to be in our outside hand, and I'm going to glide from spot to spot. So as coach is here, I'm going to glide, and that ball is going to be in a hang the entire time. So in that entire space, in that entire glide, I want to create as much space as I possibly can, and during that glide, what can I do? What can I do at any point right now? I can drive, I can shoot, or I can pass, and that's the definition of triple threat. So when your coach says catching triple threat, obviously he means to do this. But if I'm an elite player, I can do all three of those things off of the bounce. So very simply to start, we're going to go with that glide, and you'll have a coach on one side and you'll be on air on the other. And I'm going to glide, I want to create as much space as I can to try to get to the 45. And when I hit the 45, I'm going to drop to get straight into that drive. So I shouldn't get here and be square. I'm getting straight into the drop to attack him. Does everybody understand that? Out of that drop, I'm split. I'm going to load up on that back foot. I'm out. 1, 2, and I'm into a pull-up. So how many dribbles should it take total? How many?
2.
I glide, and then I push into that space. I'm sure you guys have learned since you're very young, when I'm on a drive and I attack, I want to try to get my shoulders to his hips. So I'm creating space, I'm here, I'm in that driving stance. If we were to look at the footage, you should be here every single possession, hip, shoulder, protecting off hand, separate, pull up. Does everybody understand that? Very, very simple to start. We'll build a whole series out of it. Get to your basket, switch lines every time, sprint! Downhill, great job. Glide out, downhill, not bad. All right, now we're here. Now I saw at several baskets as guys were getting into their glide, their first step was here, across their body. Because we're so used to anything we do, it's right, left, right, left. And when I go here, I'm loading up on that left, and then I'm staying parallel, staying square. Does that make sense? So when my feet are crossed, what can I do? I can't do anything, right? If I go here, I've given up any advantage that I may create. Got that? So I have to make sure that I'm square and my feet aren't crossed. They can come together and I can play wide to narrow, but I can never do anything when I'm crossed. So that becomes very important as we get into the next several moves, the next several actions out of the series. Now this time I'm here. Now my eyes do what to the defense? They show where they're going. If I'm looking here, where does he think the ball is going? Right there. So if he's going to read my eyes, that means I can manipulate him with that. Does that make sense? So we talk about hezzies, change of pace, change of direction. My eyes, my shoulders in the basketball are indicators. Defensively, guys usually watch here. They watch here, they watch the ball. And I need to be able to manipulate the defense with all three of those. So this time out of that glide, when I come here, instead of just gliding and having my head down and going, this time when I get to this spot, I am going eyes to the rim. And I'm going to still be in that same position. So I'm still loaded up like I was going to load up to the rim. Got it? Now you guys do it. If the offense's eyes go to the rim, what are you probably going to do? You're going to contest in some way if you're a good defender. So as I go here, and my eyes go to the rim and I step, and he jumps too, what can I do is he showed me that foot. I can attack it, so I'm going to either go through or cross where I'm attacking back downhill. Now he has to open up his stance, and I'm into that pull-up. So now how many dribbles is it? I glide, I step, I get him to open up, I'm going straight through. So instead of attacking straight downhill, I'm change of direction into that pull-up. So everybody got it? But what's the key? How do I get him to lift? By showing him my eyes to the rim. I'm here, he lifts, and then I go. Everybody got it? To your basket, sprint! That time, you got to here, and then when you went to go between the legs, you dropped that back foot and went. So we're here, and then I'm still stepping with that right foot. So if you did it, that right foot's at me. Yeah, right foot at me, boom. And then step and push through. Close. Right foot here, and then I'm pushing through. Guys, as we go through this entire part, and this series is going to take another 10 or 12 minutes, I want you to pay attention to how efficient the feet are. We're on the opposite side. We're here. The drop was 1. I would step right. I would step left is 2. 3 4s into my shot. So as soon as we went live, several of you guys would go here, and then you would kind of stutter step, drop your feet, you go through, and then chop, stutter, and it was taking you 6 or 8 steps to do what we can do in 4. Now, if I can go from here to coach in 8 steps, and he can go from him to me in 4 steps, who's more efficient? 4 steps, obvious. So who's going to have more opportunities? 4. We want to be as efficient with our movements as possible. So it's not about move, 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 shake, shake, shake. If you want to shift the defense, if you efficiently use your feet, you can do that without wasting energy. Does that make sense? Yes? Now you're here. Ball's in the left. So we're going to get into the same series where I'm going to get into that glide. I'm going to step just like we did to start. This time when I come here, he's going to open up and he's going to play good defense, and he cut me off. Now, talk about change of direction. What's a great separation move? Step back, side step, any of that. Great separation moves. Another great separation moves is simply stopping and stepping to right where you just came from. Because if I can stop and step more efficiently than he can, I've created separation without having to make a more difficult shot for myself. So as I'm here and I step, I'm through, he cuts me off, I'm 1. My drag is going to get me straight into the drop that we worked on to start, so it's going to be the same series. So I'm here, I'm going to drag. When he comes at me, what have I created? What's that on defensive possession? A closeout. I'm a good player, so I can create a closeout with the ball in my hand. He closes out, I split, and I pull up. Extremely efficient footwork. How many steps am I taking this time? If I start with this, how many is this? 1, 2, this is 3, 4, 5. So 5 steps. And I've changed directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times with 5 steps. Does that make sense? So we talk hard away cross and killer crossover and all those different moves and in and out side step behind the back, or you can be extremely efficient and get into your shot. Does that make sense? Teach it. Sam, strap up. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Hey, hey, here's what you got. This court, go to that court, come here, that court, all the way down, sprint. Drop, step, go. Yep, good. There you go, hey. Get drop, go. Yep, go. Drop, go. Yeah, good. So when you look at these things and you think about this week and things that you guys want to take away, the things that you control, your skill, your IQ, your intellect, I know I've said those 3 things over and over and over again. Those are things that you should be working on. Those are things that you should be mastering just as much as athleticism, just as much as moves. And even at the highest level, they will translate. Does that make sense? So just a couple little examples of drills that we did. So we talked about extending his range and then shooting game shots. So here's a drill. He had to make 2 when he moves back. If he misses 3, he's done. He's competitive with this guy who's on a 2-way with the Thunder. And in a workout, very, very simple, nothing crazy, no types of moves. The white line is the NBA 3-point line. As you can see here, very, very simple, just repping out what is nearly a form shot, trying to extend his range. Back it up a little bit here. Again, he misses 3 in a row, he's done. He makes 2 in a row, and he moves back. There's a miss. I think he keeps making shots. I think I stopped it after he missed. So there's the NBA line. So we step out there on the court, basically step about a big step inside a half court, and that's where he effectively shoots. He can shoot the 3-point basketball. Now, trying to extend it a little bit deeper. Very, very simple. Nothing crazy, no move to it whatsoever. Another drill that we did that has taken a long time at times. We'll be in the corner. You should write this one down. This is a fun one. Start in the corner. You shoot 3s. It's +1 if you make it. It's -2 if you miss it. You're shooting to 5. Now, if you ever go into the negative, you have to go back a spot. So if we're looking at the court right here, let's say we're over here in the corner, +1, you make +1, make +1. If you miss, you're back to 0. You get here, let's say you beat this spot, you get here. If you miss your first shot, you go back to that corner. So you're shooting all 5 spots. If you ever go in the negative, you go back. If you're at your 5th spot, is there a whiteboard here? If you were at your 5th spot and you miss 4 row, you're all the way back to the beginning. Simple, just repping out shot, no different than form shot, shooting NBA threes, but with a huge consequence because you have to make 3 in a row basically at each spot to avoid going backwards. Now, the longest it took Ty to do this was 73 minutes. So he shot for 73 minutes straight with no water breaks. We did a quick, rough calculation. It was like 1,200 threes during that time. Had several managers and guys who were helping out during the workout, and they estimated that he shot somewhere around 75 to 80% from 3. So he was, whatever that translates to, 900 for 1,200. But because he wasn't making the one shot he had to, he was just staying here on this side of the court. Then he's also done it as quickly as 3 minutes. So if you guys have downtime in the morning or anything, give that one a try. Do it from NBA 3 if you want. But like we said, consequence, clutch gene, not just shooting spot shots, getting reps where he has to constantly think about, I have to make this shot to move on. There's that competitive aspect. It's more than just repping it out. So when we do this for 3 weeks, comes back and he said, because this is the spot he shot the most, the corners, I think he went like 20 for 20 from this corner and then 19 from 20 from the opposite corner, because then shooting spots becomes easy because translating difficult decision-making, constant consequences to just reps is very easy to do. Does that make sense? So I want to show you guys all this to just show, let's see. Let's put this thing to sleep. Just to show with somebody like this who's is exactly like you guys were in high school, at the high school level, who's now at the NBA. One, the detailed level of workouts, but then at the same time, the simplicity of what we're doing. Things that you control or things that he controlled that took him from somebody that anybody knew in high school. He said the first time UVA was there recruiting him, it was UVA was in the gym and then a couple Division IIs. Like we said, you never know who might be watching. Your skill, your IQ, your intellect, I know I'm beating a dead horse with that. You control it, it can take you to the highest level. And here's an example of a guy who literally owned the same programs that you guys, the reason that you're here, who's playing the NBA because of the type of work that he put in. Everybody understand that? You know the things you have to do to play college basketball. You know you have to shoot. You know you have to defend. You have to communicate. You go play pickup with college guys or you go to a tryout. You can't just stay on the sideline. Like you know, everybody in here knows the things you have to do to take it to the next level. There's no secret. But you can't be too cool and you can't be too scared to do those things. You can't be on the sideline and your boys are over there kind of goofing around and you know that you have to stretch before you feel like you're ready to go, but you want to goof around to be cool. Like you have to be willing to go through your stretching routine. When it comes out there, like the answer here, there's a tryout or whatever and you're going to be scared, but there's nothing worse than getting to the end of a tryout and regretting, like, man, I should have tried to take him. I should have talked. I should have done this. I should have been the first guy in the line. I should have demonstrated. I should have thanked the coach afterwards. Again, you know every single thing that you need to do. Everybody who's here, if you're online, you're finding programs, you're listening to coaches and high-level guys, you know what you need to do, but you can't be too cool and you can't be too scared to do those. Does that make sense? We're all good?